When I heard Neville Goddard say what you're about to hear, it clearly explained to me why acting as if wasn't actually working for me. But once I changed this one belief that Neville's about to talk about, everything shifted for me, and that's when I could finally see what I wanted entering into my life. So I'm going to share with you what I read in Neville Goddard's book Out of This World, because I know once you shift out of this belief, you'll begin seeing what you want enter into your life just like I did.
Attempt to change the world before we change our concept of ourselves is to struggle against the nature of things. There can be no outer change until there is first an inner change, as within, so without. I am not advocating philosophical indifference when I suggest that we should imagine ourselves as already that which we want to be, living in a mental atmosphere of greatness rather than using physical means and arguments to bring about the desired change. Everything we do, unaccompanied by a change of consciousness, is but futile readjustment of surfaces. However we toil or struggle, we can receive no more than our assumptions affirm. To protest against anything which happens to us is to protest against the law of our being and our rulership over our own destiny.
Once I read that text in Neville Goddard's book, I began to see that the reason why I didn't already have what I wanted, even while practicing a manifesting method like acting as if, was because I was unconsciously denying the assumption that I was making. I was trying to consciously embed an idea, but my unconscious mind was denying it. And therefore, I was unable to see what it even looked like to be living as though what I wanted had actually happened already. I began to realize that this was happening because I was looking for the external facts to then determine what would be possible for me based upon just what I'm seeing around me. And what the facts were telling me was that I would need to wait longer for the right opportunity to get what I wanted. But this is an idea that Neville refutes in his book Awakened Imagination. In that book, he writes, truth depends on the intensity of the imagination, not upon external facts. Facts are the fruit bearing witness of the use or misuse of the imagination. What he is saying here is that if you can clearly imagine yourself having what you want right now, then the facts for how it's possible that you already do have what you want right now, or that you can get what you want right now, will begin to appear in front of you. This is a very strong play of psychology that can help us get what we want when we use it consciously. But there are many organizations that utilize it against other people. There's a great example that we can look to understand this information in an even larger sense. Look at the largest news stations and imagine how different it feels when you flip from one station to another. It's almost like a completely different reality being lived and being presented to you as the viewer when you're watching these different stations. And it's all based upon what the established set of ideas are that these news stations are trying to promote, and each of their shows are just a gathering of the facts that, when presented to you, could perhaps persuade you to their worldview and influence you to act on that worldview. At this point, once I really began to see this for myself, I began to realize what I needed to do was shift out of this unserving belief that I needed to wait to get what I wanted and that the opportunity to get what I wanted didn't already exist, and then shift that into the serving belief that the opportunity to get what I want is available to me right now. This is very similar to something like how a billionaire would view the idea of owning a Ferrari. Sure, they don't own a Ferrari in that single moment right there, but they absolutely have the ability to do it at any moment that they want to. That is the kind of belief that I needed to begin instilling in myself to actually begin seeing how and pursue the ways in which I could get what I wanted right now. So now that you can see how possible it is to reinterpret the facts and how powerful of a shift you can experience by simply changing your perception of the information you're surrounded by, You might be asking, how can you change your perception of the facts you're surrounded by or change your beliefs so that they can fit more into your favor and help you get more of what you want in your life? That begins by understanding how beliefs are formed in the first place. And Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within, is the best example that was most helpful for me to understand this. He describes beliefs like a tabletop supported by legs. So the tabletop is the idea you have strong conviction towards, with the legs being supporting pieces of information. Now, what usually happens when we develop a belief is that we have certain experiences happen to us in our lives, and once a certain amount of experiences accumulate, we begin to form a conclusion about those experiences, and that is where the belief is formed. So, the thing about these beliefs, though, is that once you can begin contradicting these supporting pieces of information for this belief and remove those legs from under the table will begin to fall over and eventually it won't exist anymore as a table that it once was. Now, if you're wondering how to begin developing beliefs in the way that could be most empowering for you, it's this exact same process we just talked about, but in reverse. It's finding the belief that is going to enable you to live an empowering life and do the things that you want to do, and then finding the supporting pieces of information that hold up that idea that you are creating as a belief. And again, I know that might sound backwards, intentionally so, but it's like how Neville wrote in his book when he said that facts are the fruit bearing witness to the use or misuse of the imagination. If our intention is to feel as though we already have what we want, it is just as possible to start with that idea and then find supporting pieces of evidence that will cause us to energetically turn the corner and act from the true belief in that idea, just as much as it is possible for us to look at our external circumstances and form a conclusion based upon the information we're perceiving. Here's an analogy to better help you understand what we're talking about in case this is too airy-fairy for you and it's hard to visualize what this actually looks like in a real person's life. Imagine after a long day of hiking, you meet a river and you realize that in order for you to get home, you're going to have to cross this river. So the objective is in one way or another crossing this river. Initially, you begin walking up and down the river looking for a space where the river converges closely enough so that you could just simply jump over the river and get home without getting wet or being uncomfortable in any way. But after a while of walking up and down this river, you realize it's going to be a while before the river converges close enough for you to just jump over. So now you're confronted with either challenging this belief that you have that you have to get over the river dry and comfortably, or you continue with this belief and spend an unknown period of time walking up and down this river, maybe for hours, before you can find a space where you can very clearly jump over and remain dry and comfortable in the process. So again, this is an opportunity. You can change this belief. You can address it. And if the ultimate goal is for you to just get back home, then there's obviously an option available to you right now in this moment. You don't have to walk up and down anymore. All you have to do is just get in the river and swim across. Take your shoes off. Throw your shirt and your pants over to the other side of the river or whatever that you're going to do. Even though you might feel a little bit damp, and even though all the water that's on your body, there's not going to be any real way to dry it off, if you're going to be able to get home, does it really actually matter how you feel in that one moment? This is where most people get held up. There's a way that they want to attract the things that they want in their lives. They're almost just as attached to getting what they want in the way that they imagined it as they are just getting what they want in general. But if we can visualize ourselves being the person who has what we want right now, most likely that person is just happy that they got what they wanted in the first place, and that sure, it'd be great if it happened in an enjoyable way, but that's really secondary because if it came between doing what they wanted or getting what they wanted, more than likely they would choose getting what they wanted. So if we can just allow ourselves to see that opportunity for how getting what we want is available to us now, even though it may not be the way in which we want to get it, then we can overcome that limiting belief of feeling like we need to get it in the certain kind of way that we imagine and actually just skip ahead to getting what we want right now. I hope this is very black and white, very clear to you what we're talking about here because this is powerful information. And if you can see the ways in which you are getting in your own way, then you can step out, start walking a new path, and begin getting what it is that you want literally right now. Imagine how exciting it would feel to realize it's possible to get what you want right now. The thing that you've been trying to manifest for days, weeks, potentially even months. This thing that you feel as though is not the right time to happen right now, that you need to continue waiting for a better opportunity, that it would actually be possible to get it right now. That is actually a true reality that you could be experiencing. And largely, the only shift that you need to make is letting go of the idea that you need to continue waiting and that the opportunity to get it now isn't already available to you. All you have to do is begin setting in place the idea, you know what? There is a way in which it is possible to get it right now. Just start with that idea and then begin finding supporting pieces of information that allow that belief to take hold of you. And when it does, you'll begin acting from that place and you'll be incredibly surprised how quickly you can get what you've been trying to manifest for such a long period of time. And again, I know this is a meaningful transformation that someone can go through. Obviously, if it was something that was easy or that everyone was doing, you probably would already have been doing it by now. You probably wouldn't be watching this video right now. But that's okay because I made a training on YouTube, it's free, you can check out, that shows you how to step by step go through this transformational perspective shift so that you can change your beliefs and begin attracting what you want right now. And if you want to check that out, you can watch this video right here. Like and subscribe if the information I shared in this video was helpful to you, and check out the links in the description if you want to connect with me personally. Thank you so much for watching this video, and until the next one, I love you all. Peace.